therapist is really the rapist.
Therapist is the rapist.
Yeah.
Okay.
Pronounced differently.
So, welcome to the Rapi.
The therapist.
Where we build rapport with our rapies.
Therapist shack.
This is the...
Rapist shack.
I mean, you said it, I didn't say it. But there's people who call their kids pervis.
Pervis?
Pervis.
What does that mean?
I don't know. It's like a small pervert. It's like the penis of a pervert.
I thought a small pervert would be like a pervertlet.
No, that's pushing it.
It's like big let.
Maybe pervet. Or pervion.
Are we recording?
Yeah, we are. Definitely.
Welcome to the ThinkShack, guys.
Welcome to the ThinkShack. This is episode 15 or 16, depending on what you do. I want to start with a quick apology because
it's episode 16,
It's episode 16, yeah? We're almost legal.
Yeah.
Soon it'll be episode 18, and then...
pretty soon.
We can start taking off our clothes. Well, you won't hear us.
It's going to be the strip shack.
There's no more weed.
There's no more what?
There's no more weed in the room. Because there was never any to begin with. So the thing is, I was going to apologize because our episodes might come up, and the reason I was saying this might be episode 16, 15, or I don't know, 21, depending on your flavor of underage girls, is because sometimes we do these recordings, and then we look at it in post and we're like, do we really want to put that in there? So we might have to do some post-editing, some editing after the editing.
Actually, I think something that would be like really nice and quirky about ThinkShack is if we just, we just name them however. So for example, because... while we're recording this, we're yet to upload episode 13 or 14. But I was saying, since we are editing episode 13, let's upload episode 14. Call it episode 14, and then explain that episode 13 will come after episode 14. So a quirk of ThinkShack would be some episodes are not sequentially arranged, and it's just something we do on purpose.
Sounds like Inception. Although I feel like
you launch episode 14 before you launch episode 13.
You try it out, but it might be a bit confusing for the audience.
I mean, it's only when necessity calls for it. It's not something we do willy-nilly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, welcome to the ThinkShack. This episode sounds much nicer than you because we're recording from a studio from our friend Agent K from the other day.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful studio. He's done a lot of work on this. He has soundproof panels. He has like a bunch of Rorschach images on the wall.
What is Rorschach?
Rorschach is actually the name of a psychiatrist who came up with this way to sort of study people's minds by...
He did it raw?
It's also known as the ink blot test. And the idea is that you blot a piece of paper with ink and then you fold it in half and it's going to form a random pattern. And you can actually manipulate how the pattern looks using string and whatnot. And then you show it to a psychiatric patient and you ask them what they see. Now, the thing is, if you...
They can see whatever they want.
Exactly. And it kind of gives you insights into how the person thinks.
How... If I say I see a butterfly, how do you know what I think? Do you know how I save money?
I mean, you might see monsters and, or like faces in the images and whatnot.
Is there a method to it?
There probably is. It's just that I don't fully understand. I don't want to like, pull shit out of my ass. But there is a method. I just happen. Yeah. We push it usually.
Yeah.
Pulling
is very difficult.
It does sound like an unpleasant affair.
First, you have to reach in.
Or you could use like a vacuum booth. But anyway.
Vacuum booth. You sound very confident in that.
You just vacuum the shit out of your ass.
Wow. That's incredible. So welcome to
Coming back.
Welcome
to the pull shit out of your ass. Coming back to the main topic, we're supposed to do a liquor review. And we promised our viewers the last time we did this when we were doing the Bordeaux wine that we are going to do a proper wine review. So today we chose Chardonnay.
Chardonnay has had a few songs made about it. Most famous one being Big Sean's Marvin Gaye and Chardonnay or something like that.
Uh-huh.
And maybe it was just a clever rhyme, but you do see the name Chardonnay being held in high regard.
Right, exactly. So Chardonnay is a type of white wine, and what a lot of people don't know is that Chardonnay is the name of the grape that the wine comes from. And it's also named after the village in Burgundy, France, that is, like the originator of this type of grape, and that's the Chardonnay village in Burgundy.
So the reason why I did that is to keep us from kicking the glasses away.
Yeah.
This is a border for our minds.
This totem is becoming really useful
It's
today.
quite
Remember
useful.
when we used it to get the thing?
Yeah,
from-
we have an
from
Egyptian
Bonnie?
totem here with, I don't know which god this is, but we're really not treating him like a god. Put him on the floor and everything.
Looks like a pharaoh, actually.
Probably he's a pharaoh.
Yeah.
With bunny ears, like a playboy
If you have
pharaoh.
the lighter, I'd like to light a match. or
What's the
something
point of
that's
lighting?
not
Oh, okay,
weed.
okay. It went out the room. It flew out the room.
Okay. All right. So anyway,
The lighter
Um,
took Red Bull, which gives you relief.
back to Chardonnay. So
Mhm.
Chardonnay, despite coming from that small village in Burgundy, France,
Mm.
happens to be the most widely distributed white wine grape in the world. So it's
Really?
like, and it grows everywhere. Chardonnay grows everywhere where wine is grown. Oh, and it's not too hard. I'm sure you can squeeze it through.
You can flat tire it. Okay. So back to flat tires and totem poles.
Oh, we're back.
Which,
So yeah,
we had a bit of a moment. So
yeah.
new places, new mistakes can happen.
Yeah.
So we just tripped up and I guess lost the wiring and everything.
Yeah. Actually, I just had like another brain fart.
Yep.
Right. So you remember?
I can smell it.
remember
Keep
when I
those
told
thoughts
you
away
there
from
was
me.
Murphy's law?
Murphy's law.
Yeah.
It's a brain fart.
Yeah. it's actually it's actually also you don't know what you don't know. Because like we were trying to protect the glasses,
Yeah.
but we didn't know of other factors like someone else might come with it. Like sometimes you don't know what you don't know. You just can't see.
You can't see.
You know, you're trying to cover one thing and it's like pops out.
Sounds
of
like a
another
proper
one.
weed thought. Is that actually a thing? You don't know what you don't know?
Yeah, yeah. The things you know, and the things you know that you know, and the things you don't know that you don't know, and the things that you don't know that you don't know. You get what I'm
Confusion of
saying?
the highest order.
Like for example, we know that we don't know the cure for cancer. Like it's a
Wait.
it's a known missing piece of information.
But we know the cure for cancer is radiotherapy, right?
No, that's treatment for cancer. There's a difference between a cure and treatment. Like you
Could
do
tell us
this thing.
what's the difference?
The treatment is something used to manage a disease, and the whole idea behind radiotherapy and other kinds of treatment is that you do these things where like you attack the cancer cells in different ways, and then if you're lucky, the cancer goes into remission. Like it stops on its own. So it's really doctors trying their luck with things that have like a relatively high success rate. But a cure is something that works 100% of the time. Like the cure for malaria. Like every time you have malaria, just take it and malaria is
So
gone.
a treatment
But-
is a junior cure.
Well, a treatment is something that you cannot predict with 100% accuracy whether it will work.
Okay, so radiotherapy is usually just like
It's a
guesswork,
treatment,
more or less-
exactly.
More or less like guesswork.
Exactly. But it's a guesswork that has worked more often than not. That's why we still trust
Think about
it.
it, radiotherapy is very violent. You're exposing your body to UV rays, like radiation, basically trying to burn the cancer
Yeah.
cells. Like,
Yeah.
Is that why people go bald?
I think people go bald from chemotherapy, not radiotherapy.
Well, yeah, they usually go hand in hand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with chemotherapy, it's about like having all these chemicals put into your body, and it's like a cocktail.
Jesus.
And these can affect you in various ways because the
And you
chemicals
lose
in
hair,
your body
yeah?
has chemicals and whatnot.
Mm.
And you could lose hair. You could lose hair. It's a terrible experience, I imagine, and depressing.
Yeah.
But back to Chardonnay, which is what we were talking about earlier. So like I was saying, Chardonnay is the most widely distributed, and it's grown everywhere wherever grapes are grown. So the Chardonnay grape.
Write in the comments where you're from and tell us if you've ever seen a Chardonnay in Meru, in Nakuru.
Yeah, it looks like yellow. Can you see this?
Yeah, it looks
It's
like a
nice
regular
yellow
white grape.
So I wanted us, because we can do the ASMR for our listeners now that we have a proper mic.
How did you do it last
They
time?
can
You
hear
just
us
pop it?
uncork the Chardonnay bottle. Okay, hold it for
Careful.
me.
All right, I'm supposed to hold it.
Okay.
Oh.
That was
And she
actually pretty good.
came. There she blows. There I come. So here,
So yeah.
um,
We're gonna drink them in
myself
like
a
water glasses because we're
The
totally
ruffians we are.
unsophisticated.
no, we know ladies
We're
like
very
we know,
Kenyage.
we know ladies like roughnecks. This is our roughnecks. Actually, we should drink it out the bottle, like
Yeah.
real men. Yeah,
You know.
I drink wine out the bottle.
I mean, if you drink wine, you're already gay. So
What the
it's
hell?
like trying to be manly gay.
Welcome to the gay shack. What does this
We
sound like?
love gay people.
What does it sound like?
I
Look,
hope
more
they don't get
ASMR.
offended by this.
More
What?
ASMR. More. Listen to this.
This is probably gonna sound really good because of the mic.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We call that Oscar Pistorius.
That's a lot of wine, though.
Yeah, that's how it should be.
Okay,
Cheers.
add
More
some
ASMR.
for me as well.
Okay.
Okay, so
That's
how do you
definitely
taste
not how you
Chardonnay?
pour wine, because it sounded like I'm
Yeah.
pouring water down a tap.
Yeah. So just to further, the notion that we are unsophisticated, we don't really know about how to properly taste wine, so we're gonna wing this.
I mean, you
Forgive
put it
us.
on your tongue.
I mean, for starters, we're having it in water glasses. You're supposed to have Chardonnay in a wide-bottomed wine glass with a narrow top.
Wide
That's what I
bottom
saw.
means like tiny waist, big
Yeah,
lips.
yeah. Actually, it's a pear shape. It's actually a pear shape. That's even a body shape. Like pear-shaped women.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's what you're supposed to have it in. But we're having it
What
in
kind
like
of fruit is Kikuyu-shaped women?
apples.
Apples.
Yeah, because they're top
Usually
heavy.
Big on the bottom. No, some of them were.
Not all Kikuyu women though.
Some of them are like first pancakes.
Because there are a lot of shapely Kikuyu women that are going to come in the comments.
Oh,
Like,
I
me,
bet
not me.
They
Not
even have one shapely Kikuyu woman in the room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, Kikuyus?
Or maybe it's a
I'm-
figment of my imagination. Or is it?
It's
Anyways,
a figment of a lot of
ThinkShack
people's
always has a
mind.
beautiful
It would have
audience.
to be a collective illusion, a hallucination, a collective hallucination for all of us to think that one person is beautiful that actually isn't.
I bet you a lot of Kenyans
chances of that.
are living, they wish they were living in a collective hallucination thinking about the way things are going.
I actually
with the
think
economy
makeup
and
is a
everything.
collective hallucination because
What does that mean?
us think like the way girls put on makeup to
Mhm.
deceive us into thinking they're beautiful and they're not, and we're all out here like, oh my gosh, she's beautiful,
Mm.
but they're collectively deceiving us.
I mean, apparently men do too. Remember the last time we talked about the bill to like tax fake beards? How many
Yeah.
people are buying fake beards in Kenya?
That got me questioning. We might have a lot of fake beards.
So
But anyway, let's
do the
taste it.
cheers, the ASMR one. But before we taste, you have to smell, right?
It smells like child's piss.
That's you keep saying that. Let's go deeper.
That's how all wine tastes.
No, let's go
smells.
deeper. Let's try and find something in there. I see my past.
Okay, before you go, let me give you a few interesting things about Chardonnay and how it flavors, right? So Chardonnay, it basically it easily adapts. Like Chardonnay tastes different depending on the climate where it was grown. So in colder climates, the wines tend to appear fresh and elegant with citrus and green apple flavors. So see if you can smell
I
that.
can smell the citrus and the green apple
Yeah.
somehow.
While
I was
in
gonna say apple.
warmer-
Funny enough.
Yeah, while in warmer climates, they become full-bodied with tropical fruit notes appearing on the nose. So if you can smell citrus, it was probably grown in a cold climate.
I think part of this is just not being ashamed to say what you smell. It's like when you tell kids like write what you see. Like basically,
Yeah.
I was gonna say apples, but I was like, nah, that's not true because it has grapes in it, right? But I
Right,
do smell
exactly.
the apple.
And this Chardonnay, what's it called? Declit?
There's no clits here, but let me see.
Click?
No, it's called Electio.
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 It's Electio. So it's actually from Moldova.
Mm.
Remember when we did what was the drink we did? Was it Shustov?
From Moldova?
Was Shustov from the Ukraine or Moldova?
Yes, it was from Moldova.
So this is the
Shishto
second.
was from Ukraine. What was from Moldova was the other one. God, I forget the name.
This is the second drink we've had from Moldova, basically.
Yeah, no, the second one.
And I don't know what the average climate is in Moldova, but let me just quickly Google so we can know if we're having Chardonnay from a
Now this
cold
should show
region or a
you
warm region.
we're not cheating because I'm just looking now at the back and it says ripe juicy apples, pears, exotic fruits. I read that as erotic fruits. I don't know what those are. Maybe if you take Jabba, that's njugu. Nuts, hazelnut. Oh, it has nuts, so that's some erotic nuts. And nuances of oriental sweets. Yeah, definitely what we were smelling. like.
Okay, so
I smell the apples.
just to like lend credence to what you're saying, Moldovan climate. I'm just googling that really fast.
Let's confirm whether that definition of
So Moldova is moderately continental, characterized by relatively mild winters with little snow, long warm summers and low humidity. Average annual temperatures vary between 6.3 degrees Celsius in the north and 12.3 degrees Celsius.
sounds
in the
pretty
south.
cool. Sounds like a cool
pretty cold, yeah, because like average London temperature is like 16 degrees, and that's definitely colder than Kenya.
place. London is very moody as well.
And rainy.
Kenya, when it's
Depressing.
16 degrees, you say it's cold. Like literally.
Yeah, 16 degrees is like Limuru cold, you know?
All right, let's give it a taste. It has
Okay.
but before that, I mean, look at it. It has some, what are these, bubbles or something like that?
Yeah, that stick to the
It has
side.
similar qualities to rosé. Is it carbonated? I think it might. We'll find out about
Yeah.
Chardonnay. But let's.
Huh? It certainly has the
Interesting.
sour notes.
But it's quite nice.
Yeah, it actually is really nice.
It's a nice
And it has
bitterness.
this thing where the aroma
Mm.
goes up to your nose after you swallow it. It's like a bit of the wine is tasted by your nose, not just your tongue. Do you get that vibe?
Yeah, and then you can taste the citrus on the palate as well. Has a lemony feel to it. Very nice.
Very nice aftertaste.
It's been a while
I
since we
think
mentioned the
what I
price.
just did previously was I explained aftertaste in a lot of words. I just said it has a nice aftertaste, but I was like, the taste goes up to your nose. And like, yeah,
Yeah,
you just
yeah,
described.
that's
You could have
good,
said it with one word, bro.
It has a nice aftertaste. That's what she just said.
So it's surprisingly cheap for a wine.
Are there women with nice aftertaste?
I don't know what a sexual aftertaste would be like. Like,
Imagine if you
where
decided.
do you feel it in your dick? Like, oh, my dick
I
is
think
so relaxed
a lot of this
right
is
now.
just because of too much eagerness. You always get too excited, or you're too much into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you actually
Post-nut clarity is a type of
no,
aftertaste.
let's
if
before
you
we get
think
to the
about
post nut clarity. If you think about it, like if you're going down on a woman, for example,
it. Mhm.
what if you made it such an experience like it's like a wine tasting? You smell it first,
Smell it.
and then you
You know,
I don't know, get some
explore,
salt, put it on your hand,
You know,
Then,
you know what you just
like
did.
a cocktail.
You know what you just did.
Mhm.
You described foreplay in a lot of words.
But foreplay doesn't involve salt, hopefully.
I mean, foreplay can be whatever you want it to be. It's whatever arouses you before you do the actual bumping of the uglies.
Yeah. So yeah, if you did that and you actually decided to taste it like wine, you would get an aftertaste, I'm sure.
I think there is definitely a carryover in the concept here, like you're trying to imply. It's like the same way we, smell wine and do this whole thing.
Swish
and
it
we
around
really
for God knows what
the
reason.
same way you should really take your time with your foreplay.
Mm.
Just like you should take your time with your food and savor every moment. I think it makes the experience a lot more meaningful. So
Interesting
yeah,
facts.
ladies and gentlemen, there's a lesson about how to have sex next time.
So Chardonnay
Welcome to
is
the Sex
a
Advice
pleasant
Shack.
experience so far. This Electio Chardonnay is a very pleasant experience.
So it's actually pretty affordable. It's just 1,000 bob
yeah,
for the bottle.
1069. Very important 69 to mention. Or
Yeah,
is it 68?
69.
Was 69? You sure?
I mean, I don't know. Like, it's
Could have
69.
It could have been 68.
Who cares?
Who took away the one? Like 68.
made it 69.
68% would be interesting.
Yeah.
There's a time we
68
made up
is
a
69's younger
74
sister,
position.
younger uglier sister. Nobody cares.
For the
about.
new listeners, can you remind them what we decided the 74 position would be? You said you came up with it actually.
Yeah. So 74 would be the 7 is someone bending over and shitting again on the 4, who's someone sitting on a toilet
In a
because
praying
the 4
position.
looks
In
like-
praying position because the 4 has like a leg or something.
No, it's like sitting on a toilet seat.
It's like
so
the person beneath
4.
is begging for the
Yeah.
rains.
Please give me no.
74. Try it out.
74
Coming
is
soon
just
to a bedroom near you.
scatology all around. It's porta potty. It's just deviant sex. Like, you ever seen some kind of sex practice and you're like, you are not normal. I don't care that
Which ones, for
your
example?
fetish is valid. Like scatology.
Oh, the one where people like
Shit on each other. Like,
oh, yeah, like-
why?
like 2 girls,
Why?
1 cup.
Like 2 girls, 1 cup.
Mm.
Why would you do that? So anyway, back to Chardonnay.
Yeah, back to Chardonnay, not Chat.
I'm loving the taste in this.
It tastes wonderful. Imagine like this would get you in good spirits, in fine spirits.
What is the percentage alcohol
it
by
is,
volume?
let us see. It is 12.6%.
12.6% is pretty high up.
Oh my God!
In terms of wine.
It contains sulfites. I said
Wow.
that because they put it in capital letters as if someone is walking around looking at the supermarket labels like, I want something that doesn't have sulfites.
So this has sulfites. Are you allergic to sulfites?
Sulfite sounds like a tribe in the Bible that God was trying to smite. Philistines. Sulfites.
So do you want to hear a fun fact about Chardonnay?
Tell me.
So Chardonnay's rise in Burgundy is largely attributed to the queen and the wife of Emperor Charlemagne, who was a French emperor at some point.
Mhm.
So she was so fed up with the red wine stains in her husband's white beard that she demanded to cultivate white grapes on their estate.
Red wine stains in her husband's white. There's so much to dissect there. Let's go slowly. So she was tired. This is a constant reoccurrence.
She had a clumsy husband who used to spill wine on his beard.
White beard. Probably a Mubaba's. at this
I mean,
point.
Charlemagne was pretty old at the time.
But why was her issue the fact that they were red?
What do you mean?
Like, she had an issue with it, so she made Chardonnay because it's white. So he can
Yeah,
have
so-
white stains on his white beard.
So then it's not visible. That way, when
Interesting.
he has the stains, nobody can see
He's
it.
not embarrassing the whole family.
Yeah, because she's not gonna cure his clumsiness. Clearly, that's incurable.
So
she might
Chardonnay
as well
started
make
from,
the clumsiness undetectable.
the avoidance of shame on A.
Right, exactly. Another thing about Chardonnay is that it's pretty popular as a type of grape because it adapts so easily to different climates. So, it's grown everywhere where grapes are grown. Wine grapes are grown. That's
Probably a Chardonnay in Meru. I don't even know why they have to go
there
to,
might be.
to
I don't know if they
Moldova.
have like any vineyards in Kenya. That's
I bet
definitely
you they
worth
do.
exploring.
Bet
We
you
have
they do.
like vineyards where they make their own wine and they export like Kenyan wine and shit like that. That would be something really nice.
I
to
imagine
find
that
out.
would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, maybe one of these fine days we can find one. We should just reach out to the owner and be like, "Can we come interview you? We'd like to learn more about wine."
But I must say, this is some of the most delicious non-sweet wine I've ever had. It tastes quite good. It has character to it. Like, it's a bitterness that makes you feel like an adult.
Yeah,
I feel like the older you
It's like
get,
I
the
can
more you
take
want to
this.
drink bitter shit. Like, think about it. People turn 18, they want to go
it's
drink
almost
Gilbey's or
low-key
whatever.
self-flagellating. It's
Exactly. I
Like
don't know why.
masochistic. It's like I want to hurt
I
myself.
want to hurt myself because
To prove to myself that
sweetness
I'm a man. I'm an
sweetness
adult man.
is the pleasure of children. This is candy. Like, why would I be having candy? You want to have Gilbey's, all this toxic poison, best gin. Best gin is the worst gin I've ever had in my life.
It might also have to do with the development of the tongue and the taste buds. Because obviously an adult has a more sophisticated sense of taste
You can
than a
appreciate
child.
more.
Child prefers simpler tastes, familiar tastes, like sweet, right? While an adult has a lot more sophistication, is more willing to explore different tastes. So we do tend to develop preferences. And perhaps they're even in line with, like, I don't know, our personalities and whatnot.
Conversely, and this is just a theory, this is just absolute speculation, but I'm thinking maybe children like sweet things just not because of like the taste of it, simple sweet taste, but maybe because it does things to their, what is this thing called? Their sugar is kind of like a drug, so it triggers your dopamine response or something like that.
Exactly. It's something instinctive and evolutionary,
something
because
like
the
that.
brain is also programmed from several years of evolution to recognize sugar as a source of sustenance, because it's an energy source, so we're gonna crave more and more of it because the body is trying to protect itself from hunger, like when we couldn't come across food easily back then.
So the more senses or more things you've experienced, the more dopamine rushes you've experienced as you grow up, as you become
a
older,
variety of dopamine
the harder it
rushes.
is to actually stimulate it. So
Yeah.
sweet things probably don't do it for you, or they don't like. There's this one, the
Or
different kind of taste,
you're exploring different kinds of dopamine, different experiences.
different kind of
Kind of like how they
hormone
like to say
releases.
tongue in cheek that the more porn you watch, the crazier the porn you watch
Yeah,
gets over
Exactly,
time.
exactly. So-
Because the old stuff that used to impress you just doesn't do it anymore. So you want to look for more deviant shit.
so to appreciate things like wine, gin, all these hard liquors, you
Mhm.
need to have somewhat of a sophisticated,
Yeah.
I guess you could say dopamine response or something
Yeah.
like that.
Well, we're still on the topic of tastes. Here's the thing. How many tastes are you taught in school? So you're taught sweet, sour, salty.
salty. No, they don't even teach them in school. They just say sweet, sour, and bitter. That's it.
Sweet.
And even
But
bitter.
there's like a whole science to it, right? Like they even used to say like this part of the tongue can taste sweet stuff.
Which
this
school
part
did you go to, bro? I don't remember learning that. Does anyone in the audience remember learning that? Types of taste?
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, tell us about it. I'm just saying, like, I bet you some of the. Have you ever
Different
had that?
parts of the tongue, like the taste buds in those regions, are optimized to recognize different things. So, for example, you'll notice that when you're tasting like sour shit, like lemon and whatnot, it's easily recognizable from. I'm not sure if it's the tip of the tongue or the middle of the tongue. Like you feel the sourness more in a specific part of the tongue, and when you taste like cake or whatever, you feel it more.
I found a simpler solution to this whole thing that doesn't require the totem. Why don't we put the wine glasses to the side?
Yeah.
Away
Should've
from our
thought of that
kicking
sooner.
legs. Away from our
Regions
kicking legs.
of the tongue for different taste diagram. Yeah, so
Forbidden
here it
regions
is.
of the tongue.
So the tip of the tongue is optimized to taste. Actually, not the very tip of the tongue is optimized to taste salt. That's when you taste salt, you just touch it with the tip of your tongue, and you can easily get the saltiness in it all. And then
Wait, first of all, I think we should walk people through the different types of taste. I actually know this, but not because I learned it in school.
yeah.
But because it's one of those
So
things.
what I was gonna try and say is that in school, we were taught 4 tastes. At least that's what you're ostensibly taught in school. So there's sweet, sour, bitter, and salty. Right? The tip of the tongue tastes salty. Just behind the tip, at the front, tastes sweet. Sweet tastes tend to register more there. The sides of the tongue are more accustomed to sour taste, like lemons and whatnot. And then the back of the tongue is better accustomed to bitter. That's why when you have bitter things, it feels more like an aftertaste because it hits the back of your tongue.
Yeah,
last.
like gin.
Yeah, exactly. But there is a 5th kind of taste that usually isn't represented in this
Savory.
diagram. It's called umami.
That which is savory,
So
basically.
yeah, savory is umami. It's like the taste of like a really good meat sauce or like biryani or something.
So when
like
someone
that.
tells you kuna umami nyingi, it's not trying to say you have too much umama. It means
Yeah.
you're savory. You got some spice, some flavor.
So for example, the reason why now it kind of it registers for me is the reason why I was saying with the what's it called?
Chardonnay.
The
The
Chardonnay that
Electio-
leaves an
Electio
interesting
Chardonnay.
aftertaste
Yeah.
is because the sour notes were registering near the back of my tongue.
This is some really good wine. Maybe it's my cheap tongue or whatever, but
Yeah.
this is actually really. You know, sometimes things don't have to be expensive to be good.
Mhm.
And that's what most people don't know.
Yeah.
Like you could buy a
Exactly.
really expensive cologne or expensive perfume just to find out it's shit. Like I've tried what is this thing, the Glenfiddich, the one that's aged 36 years.
Mm-hmm.
I decided let me take a shot. A shot was like 900, but I was like, you know what?
Glenfiddich is a whiskey, right?
Yeah, it's a whiskey, I believe. No. Yeah, it's a whiskey.
It's a whiskey.
Scotch
Yeah,
whiskey.
it's Scotch.
So I
You know what
decided,
Scotch whiskey is? It means whiskey from Scotland.
yes. So I decided let me try and buy. I mean, see what a 36,000 or let's say $300 bottle of whiskey tastes like.
Mhm.
I took the shot, and it was one of the worst things I've ever tasted in my life. Imagine
Oh my god.
having the perception that this thing is expensive, so it's good, and buying a 36,000 shilling bottle of wine
Mhm.
just to discover it's absolute bullshit. Instead, you could have something for like, I don't know, maybe like 1,500 in your local wines and spirits, and then you
Mhm.
find out it's the best thing you've ever tasted.
Yeah.
Now,
So I
Before
personally.
you add that, we do have 2 wines today, and I wanted us to explore them.
The other one, I don't know what it is. Is it a red wine
It's just
or
a white
white
wine. It's just a Branco white wine from Portugal. Now, have you finished your Chardonnay?
Yeah, I had. I was just gonna top myself up.
Yeah. Yeah. So, this is an interesting one. It's called Alandra. It's from
So it's
Portugal.
a white wine, you said?
Yes, from Portugal.
Uh-huh.
And the thing is, it is the first wine I've ever seen that's sold in a 375 ml bottle. It's very rare to find.
Yeah, I actually hadn't noticed that. Now I notice it.
Yeah, it's a small wine. It's like what we say in Kenya is kadogo.
Quarter.
Kapienga. So let me down my...
Sorry. Oh, sorry about that.
For those of you who are wondering why he's saying sorry, he just karate kicked me in the neck while I was drinking wine.
Almost nearly choking him.
Yeah.
It would have been very.
That would have been the end of ThinkShack.
Drunk death.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I'll call you Drunken Master from now on.
So let me have.
Let's
let me
do some ASMR. Maybe it sounds different when you pour it.
The cork isn't here, unfortunately.
No, just for pouring in.
Oh, okay.
Maybe it has more weight, so it does like with bass.
That sounds a little different
The
from the
fresh
other
taste of Alandra. You can do an ad with that. It's your turn to do the slogan. Go ahead. Step up to the mic, seduce the ladies.
one. Alandra, making you wonder how
No.
you achieve this.
God.
I don't know.
God. It is.
I literally said the first that came into my mind. I'm sorry.
Alandra is just a white wine. We're gonna find out what's special about it. We don't have too much information about it, but it doesn't. It's not.
It's from Portugal.
It's from
It's
Portugal,
Portuguese wine.
let's
That's
find
the
out.
best I can tell.
Because it's always good to compare what you're having with something different.
I mean, I could Google it and see what they say on their page.
No, but let's taste it first. Because I want to see, before the Chardonnay goes out of our mouths,
Yeah.
we find out what the difference is between Chardonnay. They might be a ripoff. Because some people will sell you Chardonnay, because I imagine Chardonnay sounds like an expensive drink.
It does.
How do you get them for
But
1,000?
it's.
What did you
I mean,
squeeze out
I
of
don't
it?
know if it's expensive. I think Chardonnay is pretty common because like the Chardonnay grape is grown everywhere. It's like
Good point.
Chardonnay wine is pretty common.
Good point.
I think the expense would depend on where it comes from because of course certain vineyards obviously price their wines more expensive.
Here's a controversial
because,
opinion.
We have a whole heritage, and then the other thing is how long it's been aged.
Here's a controversial opinion. Sometimes when things are more expensive, they taste more shit, to be honest. Like, if you think about some of the expensive pizzas that you could buy in Nairobi, some of them are the worst. Like, you go to these places in Westlands where they sell pizza for, like, I don't know, 2,500 for a medium. And then you taste it, and it looks like it has raw vegetables on it.
It's
Not
like,
the ones
what the hell
it
is
looks like
this?
roadkill that's on it. It tastes so weird. Like, if you eat at Kempinski.
Artisanal pizza. I think that's what they call it.
Exactly.
Artisanal.
I've been to Kempinski and tried out, like, a full course meal and whatever. And honestly, I didn't like any of them. I didn't like the starter. I didn't like the main course. I didn't like the dessert. It tasted weird. It tasted European.
It tasted bland.
Not bland.
That's the thing about.
It tastes like a weird kind of esoteric. It's like drinking rat piss because you're so fancy. You're like, such fine notes of yesterday's leftover
bullshit.
food. Yeah,
exactly.
Because the mouse, I don't know, pissed or whatever.
Yeah, sorry, that laugh
So
is too hard.
I think the more expensive they get, sometimes the more likely they are to overcomplicate it. So let's find out what this one costs like 900. Funny enough, for half what the electric.
So this is more expensive than
This is
the
more
Chardonnay
expensive.
we
Yeah,
just had.
yeah.
Let's see if it tastes more expensive. It tastes surprisingly similar to Chardonnay,
Yes, but
but a
Chardonnay
little
is
more bitter.
a little
more
exactly.
bitter.
It tastes a little more. So it does feel like, and it doesn't have the weird fizz. It doesn't seem carbonated. like
Yeah,
Chardonnay.
it's pretty just pretty much just it's drink. It could be water, colored water for all we care.
Yeah.
I
So-
think I prefer the Chardonnay.
I
if
do
I'm being
too.
honest.
Alandra is okay. It's not too bad. It's just like regular white wine. It's nondescript, you could say.
Right, yeah. So I think with that we can dive right into today's topics and do
Let's
it.
dive
We've spent a lot of
drunk.
time talking about wine.
I wish the thing is we're recording on our usual recorder. I can keep track of the time. So now I don't even know.
With this, you really can't tell.
Yeah, especially because we're the most high ThinkShack. You never know
I'm
how
pretty
our
sure there's like
perception
a
of time.
timer. Just give me a moment. Let me check on the laptop.
I'll give you a moment and no more.
Right, so we're at 25 minutes.
I would just say I love recording in this studio. It's quite nice. It's an interesting vibe.
It's quite comfortable.
We've got some lighting on the ceiling, like
Yeah.
some LED lights, things like that.
If we ever decide to do videos, this would also be a good place to just do video because this
Definitely.
couch is awesome.
This
I
couch
love
is awesome.
the backdrop.
I just wish the mic could come closer so it could actually rest my back.
Mhm.
It's been a long day.
Or if we could have two mics.
If we have two mics, that would be dope.
longer arms.
Yeah. Length is always a bonus. That's what people say. Now,
Yeah.
apparently, do we touch this Genge tone thing?
Okay, well, I think it's a little worth touching, but it's like in passing. This is like there's this viral Gengetone artist, Nyesh, who you know the song "Export" ya Nyandarua ni Waru or
chain ifike hadi kwa tom magarbase wangu ni ma.com cash crop za Nyandarua ni mawaru.
Now, like the idea that Trevor was going for here in the brief was that because like everybody listened to the song and it's kind of like Steve O Simple Boy's Tuachane na Mihadarati. It's like a I don't want to say this out loud, but it's less than impressive. But it's impressive precisely because it's so bad.
It's so bad you want to pay attention.
Exactly. And so, of course, she went viral. And then I think she came to Nairobi and someone gave her a makeover. They gave her braces. They gave her makeup.
I
They
just
gave
want
her
to comment
a
on
wig,
braces.
and
Braces
she had,
are kind
this
of like
whole transformation.
braces are kind of like the new status symbol for young Nairobi girls. Have you noticed?
There's a braces pandemic. Yeah.
I guess it's because they're expensive to get. From what I understand.
Oh, I mean, okay. So this raises the question then.
They
Does
can cost
that mean
about
that some of the people or several of the people with braces don't actually need them? They're just doing it for aesthetics.
I know one or two people who don't need them. And they just do it for aesthetics, as painful as it is. Because it's kind of like grills, but less, I don't know, a ghetto or something like that. Because they can cost like up to $1,000 or something like that to get installed. So the thing is,
I know. My girlfriend is getting them installed, and the whole cost is going to be 180 G's because she needed like some cavity. Dentists are actually pretty expensive. Those guys
definitely
make a lot of money.
I mean, even just whitening or like taking off, this thing called fluorosis. It usually comes with kids. So my brother had fluorosis, and
That's when there's too much fluoride.
Yes, and it makes your teeth brown, like one of your teeth or two of your teeth. They charge like $4,000 to $6,000 per tooth.
to
per
clean out
tooth.
the fluorosis.
So if your kid has brown teeth, like let's say 8 of them, you're paying as much as 8 times 6 or something like that.
That's 48,000.
48,000.
Oh my god!
You can imagine just to get the teeth whitened and stuff like that.
It's an interesting topic as well because when my girlfriend went and she was trying to get the braces, they told her that insurance doesn't cover it, and I thought that was weird. Like, why does
That's a
insurance
weird
cover
insurance.
braces? Because you would want that shit covered because that shit is expensive.
That's a weird insurance. But I just want to appreciate, before we continue, I just want to appreciate how good wine is. It's a pleasant taste. It's not like sweet or anything like that.
I'm actually also impressed. Like, I think this is a thing I could buy for myself and
sure.
just drink in the house.
Both of these, funny
on my
enough,
own.
it's quite nice. Like,
Yeah.
if you don't want something sweet, because unfortunately things are too sweet and they have too much sugar.
And it's also a gentle kind of alcohol.
It's a gentle kind of alcohol.
You know,
It's
it's like
more
you're not gonna
mature.
get just shit drunk.
Funny enough, this is interesting because my
consuming
girlfriend
too
and
much
I,
alcohol.
and as much as we enjoy some wine, we've never actually finished a bottle of wine, like a full bottle of wine.
It
doesn't make you
feel
feel like
it
you want to
needs be
finish.
finished.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's not like a bottle of gin where you're like,
I want to get drunk out of my mind.
Yeah, you know.
So Ngesh got braces, and then apparently her teeth were straightened.
So
and
now Trevor's angle here,
Mm.
and I think it's worth discussing is what do we celebrate mediocrity as a nation? Because here's the thing. I mean, of course we're gonna get a lot of flack here because what we're essentially saying is that she's talented.
No, but she isn't, to be quite honest. Okay, I believe she is, like, depending on your taste of music.
So the question is, because this isn't the first time this has happened, where someone comes up with something so absolutely bland that we all pay attention, and then they become famous off of it. I mean,
I'm gonna
cough, Steve-O, Simple Boy, cough, cough. You know, like we've had so many instances of this.
I'm gonna answer that with the old saying that any publicity is good publicity. You know, it's not just about us as Kenya. There's this group called the Island Boys. They made a song that has like about 100 million views, I imagine. It's a terrible song.
What's the song?
It's called the Island Boys or something like that. They're some white kids doing some rap song or something like that with tattoos on their faces. And the whole comment section is just disrespecting them. It's like, I wish I was dead so that I could, I don't know, come back to life and then shut this off if they're playing it at my funeral or something like that. I don't know. It's like so much hate.
Yeah. Like, you wouldn't
It's
catch me
like-
dead listening to this. No, I mean literally. If I were dead and you played this, I'd get up and leave the room.
Or actually, it was along the lines of, I wish I were dead so that I didn't have to listen to this.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, exactly.
That is mean as hell.
It's super mean. But they did make some money from it. They got some publicity for it. And I feel like
Right.
it's an international thing nowadays. If you get publicity, regardless of whether it's good or bad, it's good for you. So that's why Ngesh is getting all this
So
stuff.
there's a psychological phenomenon at play here, and the idea is that you will
Notoriety.
notice, you'll notice universally all around the world, like really, 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 absolutely appallingly bad songs and really, 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 absolutely appallingly bad movies tend to do almost as well as really, really, really extremely good songs and movies.
Case in point, there's a movie called, it's a horror movie. I don't know if you watch horror movies. Are you a fan of horror movies?
Yeah, a
Okay.
huge fan.
Do you know about Human Centipede?
Human Centipede, I've heard of it, but I haven't watched it.
It's such a bad horror movie. Well, what do I say? The
Premise.
premise. Yeah, I'm gonna say preface. Sorry, I don't know. The premise is that this mad scientist
Mhm.
captures people in the woods trying to create a human centipede. So he attaches them as to mouth,
Sews them
stitches
together.
sews them together, basically.
Right.
It's such a bad movie, such a B, not
So
even
what makes it
B-list.
so bad?
Just the whole concept, it's just stupid, juvenile, it's stupid. It's like, it's not even scary, it's just disgusting and grotesque.
Right.
It's grotesque. But it got a lot of notoriety. I mean, it's like one of the most awarded. It's got
So there's another one where like the director was also the key actor. And
Yeah.
I don't remember the name, but like it's supposed to be the worst movie
ever made.
ever made.
I mean, that's an achievement.
Let me see.
I
if
think it
can
takes talent
find
to
it.
be bad. And I think that's
Movie
why people
ever
are
made.
fascinated by people like Ngesh. What kind of name is
Um,
Ngesh? I imagine, some people, when you start your music career, you have to choose a name that's going to go international. What is
Right.
Ngesh? Ngesh is never going to grow out the hood. Never. Ngesh? People can't even pronounce that.
I think she will in the same way Steve O Simple Boy got famous.
But it's not worldwide.
I mean, of course, Steve O Simple Boy isn't gonna hit.
You're never
worldwide
going to hear
either,
someone
but-
announcing, here is
But it's
Steve
gonna
O
be
Simple Boy
something
to
of a
perform.
local celebrity for quite a while, and I think she might be headed on the same trajectory. And that's the thing. So, like I was saying, the psychological thing is that we tend to like, extremely bad things as much as we like extremely good things. And the principle here, I think, is because strong emotions are more likely to elicit a reaction from us.
And
That's
people
why
remember-
even like in the news, and especially I think a lot of studies have been done finding that strong negative emotions are
Exactly.
even more powerful
That's
than
what I was
strong
gonna say,
positive
yeah.
ones.
People
That's
remember
why the
bad
news
memories.
tends to lean towards the negative because that's when they get viewers.
Here's a statement from, or a saying, or I don't know, a slogan or a mantra from my days
Can't
studying.
find the fucking movie.
My days studying communication, under advertising or whatever. So that's what I did in uni. So they used to say in the broadcasting or media classes, if it bleeds, it leads. That's the angle.
If
That's
it
the
bleeds, it
mantra.
leads.
That's the mantra. So
Wow.
wherever there's death, any kind of destruction, any kind of death, it's more likely to elicit a reaction or interest in the public eye.
Right.
Yeah. Like Shakahola, for example.
Yeah,
Bad
exactly.
news gets press. Bad news gets views.
But if you like talk about like news where like someone, I don't know, saved a cat from a tree,
Like,
or
who
someone like
cares?
helped some kids in need, or it's not gonna be as powerful, you know. And that's the thing about strong emotions. That when they're negative, they tend to be even more powerful than when
But
they're
would you
positive.
say someone like a bad rapper like Ngesh, for example? Okay, Ngesh might not be a bad rapper because clearly she has the support of her hood. By the time someone makes a music video with people who are willing to show up and show support, it means they're respected in the community in one way or the other. So whether she's bad or not, that's up to personal taste. But someone like her whose music is
Right.
not like, let's say, to everyone's taste, what was I gonna say? Do they really elicit like a negative reaction, or is it more like humor?
It's the humorous angle, but like the humorous angle is precisely that, right? It's like, this is so bad it's funny. I
And is she
think
getting help?
Still
because-
worth pointing out, it starts from a negative place.
And you have to think about some of these things that people do in public. Like if someone decided to help her fix her teeth, it's not necessarily because they're good people. Sometimes
Right.
they might do it for publicity for themselves. Like who
Right.
knows if there was a dental clinic behind it? It's like CSR, corporate social responsibility.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Ah, shit, I can't
There was
find
this
it.
incident actually that I've just remembered. One person performed, what's the word? Proposed to his girlfriend.
Mhm.
Let me restart it so that it can be a short or something like that.
Right.
There's this particular gentleman who proposed to his girlfriend in South Africa at a KFC. So It was posted
I've
online.
heard that news. Yeah.
Yeah, and everybody started hating on him and all that stuff. But then brands saw an opportunity to take advantage to make him like a good,
Who saw an opportunity?
brands online, big brands online. They were
South
like,
African brands. Yeah.
yeah, they were like, this shows initiative. This shows like the true spirit of South African,
Just-
so we're gonna sponsor you with like a wedding venue, things like that.
Right.
Other brands started chiming in. There was a whole thread.
Right.
Like I don't know, something. For example, Mercedes might come in and say, you guys are gonna need a car for your wedding reception or something like that. We'll provide it.
So they just like
They
collectively
just jump in
funded
on
the
it.
entire
Yeah,
wedding
exactly.
by giving things.
So there is that element, that angle to it, because these other people who are helping out in quotes might just be doing some CSR, some PR for themselves.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. If anyone can like capitalize out of whatever whatever attention you're drumming, and that's what this goes back to the whole all publicity is good publicity, thing.
Good publicity.
Then they will. So for example, when Nyesh came to Nairobi and she got this whole makeover, the wigs, the makeup, the braces, there's a dentist brand that's gonna market itself
for
off
sure.
those braces, human hair or whatever brand gonna market itself off of the wigs and the makeup and so on and so forth. So she's also in a way being used as a cash cow based off of her virality.
Exactly.
And that relationship may or may not be manipulative, take it as you will.
But this is a touch and go subject. The main thing, the interesting topic that like probably will appeal better to our international audience is apparently 82-year-old Al Pacino is expecting a child with 29-year-old girlfriend Noor Al-Fala.
Right, so I did a bit of reading about that, and Al Pacino, starred in The Godfather. He was a really good actor back then, or rather like a really popular actor, famous actor back then. So the thing is, him and Noor Al-Fala have been dating since 2020.
When she was 2 years old, right? I mean,
She's 29 now, so she was like 26. She's actually not. She's not a 22-year-old bimbo. She has like two master's degrees in production, in movement. She's done a couple films herself.
what is considered the wall for women in general?
So
Which age?
30.
30.
Yeah.
So this is
she's pretty close to the wall.
She's not that young, is
Yeah, she's not that young by female standards.
Mm.
But like, here's the thing, or by male standards. But here's the thing, right?
Or by transgender standards, who knows? Maybe they have.
So Al Pacino and Noor Al-Fala. So here's the
It's funny
thing,
that they
right?
call Al Pacino and Al-Fala. Fala in Shang, which is like slang in Swahili. Fala means stupid
Fool,
person.
yeah.
So the Pacino and the Fala.
Right, exactly. But here's the thing, like when I was looking into this, I was looking at like what is like an appropriate age gap.
Yeah, how old is too old?
Right, exactly. What is an appropriate age gap to have?
I imagine it's all psychological, first of all, because everyone has their own like limit. In fact, tell us in the comments, what is your age gap limit? Whether it's younger or upwards. Ladies and gentlemen, both, and all you people in between.
Right. So apparently there's like a formula. There's a formula for like calculating this, right?
According to who though? What, Steve Harvey?
Probably like one of
Some
these.
relationship coach.
Yes, it's like if the youngest person can date is half your age plus 7.
Yeah. It's
and,
arbitrary
and
rules.
the oldest person you can date is like, I don't know, like your age times 2 minus, I don't know, it's like some maths there.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
What is that rule?
But
the one you found on the internet. What does it say?
it's that one. I just don't remember it because I don't remember like where I found it. But I did find some research that found that the ideal age gap for couples, at least according to their studies, was 1 to 3 years, in which the man is older than the woman. And they found that
So this 29-year-old lady should be dating a 32-year-old, ideally speaking.
and they found that the greater the age gap, the less reported relationship satisfaction.
Interesting.
Wait.
The greater the age gap, the less reported relationship. Okay.
Like the greater the age gap
old,
between you two, the less likely you are to be satisfied in the relationship. But there are a lot of factors. You have to
and there's
understand
exceptions
that,
to the rules.
and
Jay-Z, Beyonce.
relationship satisfaction is a complex topic because there's a lot of functions, right? So there's your chronological age, which is how old you are since you were born. And there's also
Your biological age, which is how old your cells are. It's just that I know that's not where you're going, but then literally there's actually your biological age. They do a test
based off of like your health. And
exactly, they do a test, and it might
fitness.
be higher, it might be slightly lower.
There's also your sexual age,
Yeah, which
And
is what?
like
It
how
better be over 18.
your comfort with sex, your the way you approach it, the way you relate to it. I mean, some people can be pretty juvenile about sex.
Yeah, such as us.
Uh,
We make a lot of sexual jokes, but
Yeah.
I'm kidding. I know that's not what you mean.
There's also your psychological age,
Mm.
which is like, just a proxy for how mature you are.
Yes.
And then there is, I think that's about it. So, sexual, psychological, chronological, or something.
And then biological,
and for
like
you to
actual age.
for you to be compatible, your psychological and sexual age has to match up, right? Because you kind of have to be on the same page.
Psychologically and
So, for example, if you have different priorities in life or different maturity levels, and this isn't always necessarily a function of age, even though age is a good proxy to judge maturity, it's not always true. So, there are younger people who are more mature than older people.
I know.
So, if one of you is more mature than the other, and you have different priorities, you're gonna report less relationship satisfaction. One of you is gonna feel pulled back.
It makes sense, and I imagine 1 to 3 years. The reason why I feel like the men should be older, ideally, according to this particular theory, doesn't always have to be the case, of course, but in general. So
Right.
it's because psychologically, as you said, as much as men and women might have the same age,
Right.
psychologically, women tend to mature a bit earlier, and I think it's been
No,
proven
this
with
is
a
a
couple of
fact.
tests.
Like,
Yeah, it's a
even the
fact.
brain grows faster.
And they
I
reach
think we
puberty
both
faster as
watched
well.
the same video on YouTube that kind
Yeah.
of says it's like,
They reach puberty faster as well.
Exactly. And then there's the other thing, also, like, in terms of like emotional maturity, if you're in a relationship with someone who's like less emotionally mature, you may have to pick up the slack by, the emotional burden, and have to be the mature one most of the time, which can lead to exhaustion and, you wanting a breakup. So that's the thing about, like,
So-
when a couple isn't emotionally congruent or
Now,
emotionally on the same page.
3 years versus 82 versus minus 29 is how many? That's 53 years.
Yeah.
3 years versus 53, that's a huge difference in the ideal versus what Al Pacino is going to get with Al Fala.
The other thing about like age differences in relationships is the social stigma associated with it, because it's just like whatever society you're in, like an extreme age gap makes people criticize and make assumptions. So she's with him because of the money. He's with her because of how she looks.
Well, Al
And that's
Pacino is a
something
big
that's
name. Al Pacino is a big name, and she works in the film industry as well, right?
She does.
So maybe she admires him. But I'm gonna give out probably what is a bit of an offensive opinion to some. So look away now. But really, I feel like these people who go for extreme age gaps, they do tend to have they're manifesting some personal trauma that they've not really.
So
fully
here's the
resolved.
interesting thing. Noor Al-Fala, this isn't the first time she's dating someone much older than herself.
Exactly.
She has dated Mick Jagger in the past. That's the Rolling Stones lead singer. She's dated Clint Eastwood sometime in the 90s. He's a really old actor.
You have to have some kind of personal trauma, because there's something she's looking at that most women would not look at, and then she's seeing it in these much older men. So she's probably had, like, she didn't have a father figure growing up or something like that. This could be worth deeper research. But I do feel like the women and the men who tend to go for older partners who can take care of them or who are more mature, they tend to have lacked something. That's what I feel. It's a symptom of, I don't know, missed opportunity, or like a personal trauma. It's a symptom of personal trauma. That's what I believe.
So, like, we find that from 7 years above, relationship satisfaction tends to like drastically decrease. So, I mean, there's definitely a trope where like older men want younger women, but apparently, according to the studies, and I don't know if this is going to be true in practice. I'd love for some of the viewers to tell us what their opinion is in the comments. But the research says that the greater the age gap, like past 7 years, there's not going to be much relationship satisfaction.
I mean,
So,
how much?
well, we do like to romanticize, maybe like especially women, like she's 22 and her boyfriend or her husband is like 39.
Or
It's like, oh my
40.
God, he's so mature. I feel so comfortable in this relationship.
But he's gonna bore you. You want to go out at night. He's 22 and something like that. This guy just wants
different
to sleep.
energy levels, different priorities and whatnot.
Exactly. This guy has been there, done that. Or this woman. For some guys prefer older women. It's just the way it is.
Right. So there's some news I read somewhere. I'm not sure it was true, but the idea is that because she's supposed to be expecting a child,
From 82
apparently
year
Al
old Al
Pacino
Pacino.
demanded a paternity test because he doesn't believe he can sire children at that age.
Looking at him, I don't think he can. Like, he looks too tired to father children. He
Like,
might
no.
look, maybe my
Not gonna
grandfather.
happen.
He might great grandfather children, but he can't just father them. He's past the point.
Well, we like to say that men can just keep siring children well into their own old age. I'd love to see the research on like what is actually
mean-
the in practice, what is the fertility limit for men or the potency limit? Like at what age is it least likely for? After what age is it least likely for a man to have children? So you're like, yeah, you've reached the soft equivalent of menopause.
Menopause for men, yeah. It's the real
Yeah.
menopause. But
The
really,
menopause.
what are you shooting
That
at
should be on a
82
t-shirt.
years old? You're not just shooting blanks, you're shooting powder at that point. Your
Fucking
milk
ancestor.
is powder, is Nido at this point.
Yeah.
It's like Mixie or something like that. Like,
Well,
oh, yo,
anyway.
baby, are you ready for this cum? And then,
Just
Just-
dust. You know, like you just blow dust in my face. She was waiting for a facial.
that's Al
got dust
disappointment. That's what it is. There's
She got
Al
fucking
Pacino
baby
and
powder.
Al Fala, Al fucking. There's gonna be an Al disappointment. Who is Karugo Athangwa?
Karungo Athangwa is
Like, who's that
is
thing?
an MP. Karungo Athangwa. So let me just because I remember he was the MP of some place.
It's a very interesting face. It looks squished.
Yeah, he's the MP for. He's actually a senator. Sorry, not an MP.
Just comment on his face a little bit
He's
more.
a Kiambu senator.
I want to comment on his face a little bit more. There's
Yeah.
an interesting channel on YouTube called Cove Studio, which looks at why certain people are perceived as beautiful, what makes people beautiful, things like that, and it talks about the ratio. This
Yeah.
guy's face is really squished in, like everything's so centered. Do you notice that?
Like his facial features
It's like-
occupy a very small area of his overall
Exactly.
face.
And
It's
they're
like,
right at the center.
There's a lot of room, guys. Spread out.
Like spread out a bit more. Yeah, the ratio is just it's like if you take a sack, fill it up with stuff like a guinea, and then you grab
Right.
the top to try and close it.
Right, exactly. So he's a Kiambu senator, and he was suggesting that whenever we have a public holiday, so if the public holiday falls on a Tuesday, then the preceding day, which is Monday, should be a public holiday. And if it falls on a Thursday, then the succeeding day, which is Friday, should also be a public holiday. And his idea is that because, Kenyans need to rest from the previous holiday.
So the preceding day shall be a public. He's just against Mondays and Fridays, basically.
He's against having to go to work immediately after a
No, but here's the
holiday.
thing. He made it specific. He said if it falls on a Tuesday, then the preceding day, which is Monday, should be a public holiday. When it falls on a Thursday, the succeeding day, which is Friday, shall also be a public holiday.
So he's an advocate for long weekends.
Long weekends, Mondays, Fridays, nurse your hangover,
Yeah.
do whatever. And I like the way he's so proud of it. He's like, that is holiday economics.
Now, the question is whether this is good for the economy.
Now, the thing is, looking at it from a scientific standpoint, they found that the ideal work hour should be 6 days a week, and there's some
6 days or 4 days?
6 hours a day.
6 hours.
And there's mounting evidence or research that suggests that the ideal number of workdays should be 4 instead of 5, which
Right.
makes me wonder, where did the 5 even come from? Who decided to make a weekend or weekday?
I'm not entirely sure where the 5-day work week came from, but I think that's worth searching. Let me just Google it real quick.
And as you do that, we're going to advertise our sponsor, Konyagi. We're not yet there.
Needs to come.
We're not yet there, but we're hoping to get there soon. So just a sponsor, maybe we can try and pander to, kiss their ass a little bit on our episodes, and then maybe they can come and sponsor us. Give us wine to review, things like that. Take us to school because we're poor children. This
Yeah.
is just me waffling so that Ramsey can do a search. And I'm also going to look up research suggesting like why 4 days is better for work. Put some music on, Eli. Cue music.
Aruba, Jamaica, ooh, I wanna take ya. Bermuda, Bahama, come on, pretty mama.
And then we're going to put
So
some
apparently there used to be 7-day work weeks. The 5-day work week was actually a concession, right? So
Is that
people
for
used-
slaves or just regular people?
No, I mean like in the West, in civilized nations, industrial nations back then during the industrial age, 7-day work weeks were the norm. But what happened is, in 1929, the Amalgamated Clothing Workers of America Union was the first to successfully demand a 5-day work week, and then Henry Ford in 1926 shut down his 7-day automotive factories for 2 days a week, giving rise to the foundation of the 5-day work week in North America. So apparently it used to be you either had a 1 day weekend or a 0 day weekend, like you just work every day, and people managed to get a concession, by pushing it back to 5 days. So the 5 day work week is a representation of our progress away from having to work every day.
7-day work week sounds brutal.
It
Although,
does.
funny enough, the both of us work 7-day weeks.
No, but then it's not even that. But we also, even working 8 hours a day is magic or heaven compared to like factory workers in the industrial age who used to work 18 hours a day, and children too.
And how many of those hours are actually productive? If you think about your 8-hour workday, let's say you even get like a lunch break, for example,
Right.
that's already 7 hours. And then there's also all these liminal moments where you're just doing nothing, or you're just on the email waiting for a response, things like that.
Right.
You'll find most people who work 9 to 5s, or in Kenya, I think it's 8 to 6. Most people
It's
do 8 to 6.
in Kenya. It's a lot longer. It's probably like a 9 or 10 hour work day.
Yeah, definitely.
On average, and
I
this is
think
if you're lucky.
It's most people do 8 to 6 or 7 to 9 to
For
6.
others,
Okay.
for many, it's actually a 12 hour work day.
Yeah, so you find most of them, the actual effective hours they're working are probably less than 4.
And that's, I guess, the productivity argument, that if you work fewer days a week, fewer hours a day, you're actually more likely to be more productive. Now, I find that there is a crucial fault in this reasoning. I think it works for like office jobs or executive jobs or like knowledge jobs where a lot of creativity is required. But for menial jobs, the vast majority of which constitutes the Kenyan economy, you actually have to grind, because I mean, you can't have like Mjengo workers working 4 hours a day.
Yeah.
Your construction is gonna move at a snail's pace. Same thing with people like running kitchens in hotels or restaurants and whatnot, and matatu touts and people in M-Pesa shop. Like basically the way the Kenyan economy is set up and the way the careers and jobs is set up, having a 4-day work week and a 6-hour work day it's just unconscionable. And that's the idea behind like why some people were so against this, what the Kiambu senator was saying is because like if you're in business, right, you see, for those proposed long weekends you need money, and you only get that money by actually work, so business people are going to be losing money, and then there are people who get paid by the day, so they also lose money. The only good argument I've seen here is that some people say, hey, this might be a good idea for those people who go to their upcountry, their shags, and then they have to travel back. So, giving an extra day will allow them to travel back. But there's a lot of arguments, overwhelming arguments against having extra holidays in Kenya.
Yeah.
Given the state of the economy. We first need to get our economy to a place where most people have knowledge jobs, most people are knowledge workers, and it's work that requires creativity, and therefore productivity is more likely to be achieved with fewer hours, but not as it currently is.
I did mention that there were some studies that suggested that having longer, this is outside of the holidays, but just having fewer work days and things like that, like 4-day work weeks are apparently favorable to 5-day work weeks. They did trials in Iceland, New Zealand, the UK, and things like that.
All developed countries.
But they still do the traditional 9 to 5, which is where we got it. I imagine like most of the things or culture come from there. So the thing is, they found that 4-day work weeks had a pretty good impact, and 92% of the companies that participated in the study actually continued with it. And there's studies in Japan going on to try and see if they can implement this on a wider scale.
Yeah.
So the pros were there was increased productivity. Funny enough, like reducing the number of hours, which I imagine is why they eventually adopted the 5 instead of 7-day work week.
Right.
Reduced facilities costs, because you imagine like there's less internet, there's less, maybe if there's catering, like offices, they do that.
Right.
Things like that. Improve morale and stuff like that. Now, the only cons were, scheduling concerns. And, well, there's also even an environmental impact, because the fewer people there is traveling to work, the more there's less fuel is being burnt.
Right.
The less.
So it's good for climate change.
It's good for climate change and things like that, or just the environment in
Right.
general. But I imagine in Kenya it wouldn't work still, because people will still go out. If you get Kenyans a 4-day work week where they end the week on Thursday, yeah, they will still be using their big machines or whatever to go to clubs.
Yeah.
They will still be moving about and things like that.
What I'm trying to say is there's certain jobs for which the 4-day work is just inconceivable.
Which ones, for example?
When you wake up, you need to go to the shop to buy things. If the shopkeeper has a 4-day work week, you're fucked.
No, but here's the thing. Yeah, I would say
You need to go to the fucking market to buy groceries. If they have a 4-day work week, you're fucked.
But I always say, you can do these things in shifts. Like, it's not that difficult. Have someone come in, and they work a 4-day work week. You work a 4-day work week, but your days off are different.
Okay, there's another
Yeah.
there's another spanner in the works that can't solve. In Kenya, there's majority of Kenyans are unemployed. That's the official statistics. But do you know what the reality is?
What is it?
Majority of Kenyans are actually self-employed. It's just unreported labor, unreported income, so they're not in the statistics.
They're in the informal
Majority
market.
exactly. Majority of Kenyans are doing informal jobs where if they don't come to work, they don't make money. And we live in a particularly difficult financial economy, so they can't do that where they do shifts because a lot of them are actually working
For
for
themselves.
themselves.
They pay themselves.
They pay themselves. They can't have shifts unless they
Interesting.
have schizophrenia and or
So
multiple
probably, I
personalities.
think 4-day work weeks are they're probably ideal in Western developed nations.
They're ideal in a certain kind of certain kind of job distribution profile.
Culture-wise, I also feel like we have a tendency to, celebrate busyness over actual productivity. Because you find a lot of
Right.
people are busy, but they're not productive.
That's true, especially in the
9 to
office
5
setting.
and things like that. Yeah. Like you find a lot of people doing.
Most people are on Facebook or Instagram or whatever. You
Yeah.
know. I don't know if Facebook is a thing. In
But I'll
offices
tell you
right
who's
now,
not working a
but
4-hour
probably
work week.
TikTok.
We are, and this has been a really good episode
Yeah, I think we should wrap it up. I think we're both getting sleepy.
because we don't work 4-hour work weeks. Actually, we
And we
technically
have-
work 6 or 7-day work weeks. I don't
Yeah,
know.
like our work is just constant throughout. You need to do a lot of stuff to catch up, but it's also weirdly accommodating. Like
It's also very accommodating. It's a very strange
there's
thing.
no strict schedule.
Like,
It's just
literally-
it's more about your deliverables.
We're
really.
doing a recording. We're finishing up a recording at midnight
Yeah.
on a Sunday where most people are sleeping, dreading the Mondays.
Right. We don't dread our Mondays that much.
Maybe we should do different upload days to just cheer people up. Who knows?
Yeah.
We do uploads on
upload
Sundays,
on a Monday
on
sometimes.
a Monday or things like that.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for joining us. This has been Jean
This has been Ramsey.
from Agent K's home studio. And
Yeah.
this is ThinkShack.
This
We
is
look
the Work
forward-
Shack.
The Work Shack. Look forward to catching you on the next one. And that is a wrap.
Cheers, guys. We love you.
Yeah,
Bye
love
bye.
you very much. More than your mom. Stop. It's the stop button.